Hello and welcome to part 7 of the Unity Tilemap tutorial series. In this video we're going to be looking at generating a maze for our character to walk through, and to do that we're going to be using something called a blind walk. So let's dive straight in. So we want to go to our game manager now, and we've got something called generate map, a method called generate map. I can get to it quickly this way, generate map, there we go. And what at the moment this is doing is it's going through every tile in our map and it's setting the map data to 0, which is walkable. I want to do something here. I want to do an integer no, I don't. Let me just think for a second how I'm going to do this. I'm going to extract the method, and it's going to be called fill map, and it's going to take an integer called fill, and it's going to fill the map with that integer. Okay, so originally it was filling it with zeros, now it's filling it with ones. Let's take a look at what that looks like. It's just compiling. It's thinking about compiling. Have I got an error somewhere? No red squiggles. Okay, and I hit play. Oh, there we go. Now we can walk around on a totally blocked I don't like the experience here, because when we get to the top of the screen it immediately sends us to the bottom. It's like there should be a pause there. I don't think I'm going to finesse that much on this project, but it's something that maybe could be a challenge for you to have a pause when you reach the top of the screen before you're transported into the next level. You can even have like a loading screen. Not there's much time in loading this up, but you know, those are challenges you might want to do in the future. Okay, so come out of play mode, go back into our script. So when we're generating the map, we're doing fill map 1. Okay, then we're going to do something called a blind walk. Just let it compile again. Generate method, blind walk, there we go. So we've got this set player start. Int start equals random range dot get width. Okay, we need to know where it's starting, because that's where the let's just have a look at how we do things. So we generate map, and then we set player start there. So we're actually going to get that out. We're going to call this place player. We're going to have an integer start. It's going to start at 0. Oh, that doesn't work, it's going to start at 1. So the first thing we're going to do is set start. Doesn't like generating methods for me, does it? Doesn't save. There you go. Generate method. Great. We want to bring this in a little bit. So we're actually going to start at 1. And then we're going to go to get width. Not this one. I'm ignoring whether that should be a 2 or a 1, and I think we'll get to see the answer to that later in the code. I believe a random range of integers does not include the max, so -1 might be correct. Now, so that said, -1 is going to be the max. So I'm going to put it at -2 for now, and we'll have a little check to see if that works. So now we can go to generate map, blind walk. And what we're going to do here let me just think how we're going to do this. So we want vector3 int current position equals new vector3 int start comma 0 comma 0. Okay, so vector int is current position. Then we need a vector3 int, which is going to be target position. So that's how we've called it elsewhere. And that's just going to equal current position for now. And then we also have another vector3 int, and we're going to call that move vector, and that's going to equal vector3 int dot 0. So it's basically going to have no value at the start. Now, the first thing we want to do is go to our map data and a certain XY, we're going to say equals 0. And that's going to be current position dot x, comma, current position dot y. That makes sure that the first tile that we start in is going to have a value of 0, which is a path, so it's going to be walkable. Then we're going to have a while. This is going to be while current position dot y. Actually, check victory. Are we restarting? Check victory, restart. So let's just copy that in there. So while the player transform.position.y is greater than or equal to height minus 1, not equal to height minus 1 is what we want to do there. So that's a good start. Then we're going to go direction. Sorry. I want to just declare this at this level, int direction equals 0. Then in here we're going to say direction equals random dot range. You're going to go from 1 to 5. And then we're going to do a switch statement. So we're going to switch on the direction. In that switch statement we're going to have different cases. So we're going to have case 1. So when the direction is 1, we're going to say the move vector equals, we're going to go for up. Let's add default. New vector equals 0. Vector3.int.0. We're going to break. So let's copy our case 1. Case 1. So case 2, case 3, case 4. So we start with the 1 and we end with the 5. Now because these are integers and the range is never going to reach 5, it's exclusive of the 5, so we've got a cases to 4, but just in case something weird happens, as it has, my default's disappeared. So I'm quite happy with that. So this should be dot down, this should be dot left, and this should be dot right. So basically what we're doing with this switch statement, we're taking in a direction, which is a number between 1 and 4. And then for each of those numbers, we're going in a direction up, down, left, or right. And if none of those are the case, which is never going to be, but we just got to have a move vector dot 0, just so things don't go horrible. A move vector is set at 0 here as well anyway, so it shouldn't be a big issue. So yeah, outside of the switch statement. Now we need to find out if this fits within our map. So we're just going to do target position equals current position plus move vector. And then we're going to say is in frame. We're going to pass in the target position, and we're going to pass in, no, we're just going to pass in the target position and generate the method is in frame. It's a bool. So now is in frame is very similar to something we have up here, is in bounds. So we're just going to copy is in bounds. So target position, target position. So if the target position is less than 0, no, if the target position is less than 1, so we've got a frame of 1 around the whole map. So if it target position is equal there, we can just put -1 here as well. The height here, and that's going to be -1 as well. Best thing to do is just check this. So when we see the blind walk and the way it walks around the map, we'll be able to see if this is working or not. So if we're outside, we return false, otherwise we return true, so we are in frame. So if is in frame target position, current position equals move equals, sorry, target position sorry, I get confused here. Current position equals target position, and we're just going to go back and grab this bit of code, copy that. So current position is now the target position, and in the map data we're going to do it to 0, which is walkable. If that's not true, then we're just going to go back and choose another direction until we get to the height -1. Save. If I've got something wrong, if I've made a mistake here, which is a definite possibility, this whole thing could break. So it's worth looking at. So fill map 1, blind walk. After we generate the map, we clear the map tiles, we draw the map, we place player. Okay. There's only one thing to do, is press play and see if it works. Hold on. It's taking its time. But it compiled fine. It's just taking a while. Ah, okay. So I think what we might have here is what I feared, and we have an infinite loop, so I've done something wrong. I think what I've done wrong is I've said that the current position can never be at the top of the map, whereas we do want the walk to reach the top of the map. So we're in an interesting situation now that we're stuck in an infinite loop, and how do we get out of it? I'm going to pause the video and have a little search around. I've done this before, but I can't remember. Okay, so I know exactly what the issue is. However, I haven't been able to resolve it. So the issue is that we're checking if it's in frame, but we're continuing until it's out of the frame, but it's never going to be out of the frame because it's in the frame. So we need to change this code. But at the moment we're still stuck in this infinite loop. So I'm afraid it's Control-Alt-Delete, Task Manager, and we need to find Unity. There you go, Unity Editor, and End Task. Luckily I've saved everything. If you haven't saved some changes and that you get in this infinite loop, there is actually a temp folder where you can find your sort of auto-saved version. It auto-saves whenever you click the run button, whenever you hit play. So that's not too much of an issue. But as soon as you open Unity Editor again, you will lose that temp save, so that's worth knowing. So I'm going to leave you again for a while this loads up. Okay, we're back. Let's go and fix our issue. So this is in frame. So target position Y is greater than and equal to height -1. Let's get rid of the -1. And let's be safer here and put a integer limit. Let's just do 1,000 for now. Zero actually, sorry. I should have done this before. Or limit is greater than 1,000. I don't like that. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to have a serialized field for this. It's going to be integer line walk max steps equals 1,000. If the limit is greater than okay. limit plus plus. Okay, if I put that in the right place, so if the target position's in frame, if the target position is out of frame, we're still gonna issues. Okay, let's save it. Ooh, what's going to happen? Already broken it once. Can I break it twice? So we're going to attach a Unity editor, and we're going to put a breakpoint in. I'm a prize idiot. You were probably screaming at the screen when I did this. Back into Task Manager, find the Unity editor. There it is. And end task. So it should be an and. Yeah, so it's a little late in the day here in the UK, that's my excuse. So we've got an and of course that should be less than. So as long as the limit's less than the blind walk steps, then we're not going to continue with this while. We're back in the room. Let's see if it fails on the third time as well. Okay. So a couple of interesting things have happened. And one of them is our player has disappeared. Don't know why that would happen. It's an interesting one. Have to look into that. And it's painted the whole top here, so it's reached our victory condition several times, but it's not broken out of the loop. Okay, I'll get the logic right eventually. So I've shot myself in the foot several times now. This should be an OR. So the player transform position .y does not equal get height -1, or the limit is less than blind walks. So when this limit is higher, so let's have a think about this. So I'm having trouble just understanding my own code here. So we're going to put the limit here, and then we're going to have an and. So basically, limit is less than the blind walk max steps, yes, and the player.transformPosition.y does not equal get height -1. Let's save that. Go back into Unity, wait for it to compile. And play. Walk to the top of the screen, and it's not worked. You must be screaming and shouting at the screen because this is just completely wrong. I think this was a copy and paste error, so it should be current position. It's got nothing to do with the player whatsoever. Okay, let's see if that works this time. Yes, we finally have our first map and our second map and our third map and our fourth map and our fifth map. Great. Okay, so we've got an issue here where the player's not visible, and we can do some funky things to make him visible. So for example, if you go to player and we move on the z-axis, we can make him appear, but that's all a bit hit and miss. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to go to our character on the sprite renderer, sorting layer. We're going to add a sorting layer. We're actually going to add 2 sorting layers. The first one is going to be terrain, and the second one is going to be, we're going to call it characters with the S, just in case we have more than one character in the future. Then we can go to our grid, our tile map. The tile map renderer is going to be terrain, and then our character is going to be on the characters. And yep, we have him back again, so let's play. To make sure nothing funky happens, because we do actually place this player. So we have our player back in the world. We can hit our victory condition, and we now have an infinite world to play in. So the problem we have now is when we move onto the blockers, it's not preventing us from moving onto the blockers. So that will be the topic of the next video. Thank you very much, guys.